2024 college football season. My name is Mike Browning. I'm the host of the College Football Road Trip at CFBRoadtrip.com. We had a great slate of games in week one. We had USC with a big win over LSU, Notre Dame with a win over Texas A&M. We had Miami looking impressive in their win against Florida, and Florida State falling to 0-2, even though this was week one. That's how college football works sometimes. We have another good slate of games coming up this week, including my trip to Toledo for the UMass Toledo game on Saturday afternoon that I'll be picking at the end of today's picks. With all that said, let's go ahead and jump into the week two picks. And we're going to start off with a Thursday night game. We have BYU out of the Big 12 traveling to SMU, who is now in the ACC, another big conference realignment change that happened in the offseason. This should be a really good matchup. Both teams, well, actually, BYU's 1-0. SMU had a tight win over Nevada in week 0, but an easy win over Houston Christian in week 2. With that struggle, though, in week 1 against Nevada, Nevada's not supposed to be a very good team out in the Mountain West, and SMU struggled with them. I think BYU's going to be a pretty decent team this year. I think they're going to be able to come into Dallas and pull off an upset win in this one. So I have BYU over SMU on Thursday night. Now let's go to our Saturday matchups. Our first one is Colorado traveling to Nebraska. This was a very good game in Boulder last year. I think this year's game will also be very good. I think that Nebraska is going to take a pretty big step forward this year. Colorado, on the other hand, struggled in their week 1 win. I think that they're still going to be around the middle of the pack as they move to the Big 12 this year. I think Nebraska, though, is going to be able to take that step forward. I think they're going to be able to come out of this game with the win this week. I have Nebraska winning at home over Colorado. Next, let's go to the big Cy-Hawk game in the state of Iowa. We have Iowa State traveling to number 21 Iowa. Iowa is a team that struggled in the first half of their game last week, but then they seemed to start putting things together in the second half, putting together, I believe, 24 points after having only 6 at the half. On the flip side, Iowa State had a big win last week, but it wasn't against very good competition. I think both teams are going to be pretty decent. I think both teams will be a little bit better than they were last year. It's just that Iowa being a little bit better makes them still better than Iowa State. So I have Iowa winning at home over Iowa State. Next, let's go to another Big 12, Big 10 matchup. We have number 19 Kansas traveling to Illinois. This was a game that was very tight in Lawrence last year. Kansas, they're ranked in the top 25. That shows that people have gained respect for them over the last year. I think they are a much improved ball club over the past year and a half. I think that's going to continue into this season. I think they have a chance to at least compete for the top of the Big 12. Probably not good enough to win it yet, but at least be competitive. Illinois is a team that still isn't in the top tier of the Big 10. Because of that, I have to give the Jayhawks the edge. I have number 19 Kansas winning on the road at Illinois. Our next matchup is number 17 Kansas State traveling to Tulane. Tulane is one of those schools that are not in a power conference but is still competitive every year. They always get at least one good game against somebody every year, and it's not a complete upset, at least super close. They took OU to the limit a couple years ago. Kansas State is a team that is continuing to improve a little bit season after season. I think they will be right there at the top of the Big 12 as well. So I think this is a game that will definitely go to the second half, but Kansas State will find a way to pull away in the end. I have number 17, Kansas State, winning at Tulane. Our next matchup is an SEC Big 12 matchup. We have Arkansas traveling to number 16, Oklahoma State. Again, Oklahoma State is another team that's right there in the Big 12 Conference, which is wide open if you ask me. Arkansas is a team that struggled last season. I think they're going to be improved this season. But with that said, Oklahoma State finds a way to win these games, especially when they're the home team like they are in this one. So because of that, I have to get the Cowboys to win. I have Oklahoma State winning at home over Arkansas. Next, let's go to a non-conference game that features two Big 12 teams. We have Baylor traveling to number 11 Utah. So this was a game that was scheduled before Utah made the transition to the Big 12, and so they decided to go ahead and keep this game on the schedule, but just count it as a non-conference game. It should be a pretty competitive matchup. Baylor is a team that under the first year, under the current coach, had a really good season, but they really struggled last year. They're a team that will be competitive in games, but probably won't be at the top echelon of the Big 12. On the flip side, you have Utah moving over from the Pac-12, where they actually won the Pac-12, or at least were in the championship game over the past couple years. They are the favorites to make it to the Big 12 championship game this year. So even though this is a non-conference game, this is a good chance for the Utes to make a statement. I think they will. I think they'll win this one pretty big, especially being at home for this one. I have number 11 Utah winning at home over the Baylor Bears. Next, let's go to an SEC-ACC matchup. We have number 14 Tennessee playing number 24 NC State in Charlotte. This should be a pretty competitive game. It's at a neutral site. Tennessee is a team that wants to be competitive in the SEC. They have to win games like this if they want to do that. On the flip side, NC State is a team that has a chance to make it to the ACC championship game, especially with the struggles of teams in front of them like Clemson and Florida State. So this is one that I think will go into the second half. Tennessee usually has a much stronger offense. So with that said, I think their offense is going to give them the edge at the end. I have number 14 Tennessee winning at Charlotte against North Carolina State. Now, let's go to probably the biggest matchup of the weekend, if not all of non-conference play. We have number 3 Texas traveling to the Big House to take on number 10 Michigan. So this is a big game, SEC versus Big Ten. Two teams in the top 10. You have Texas, who made it to the playoffs last year but lost, who is planning on being competitive and trying to make it to the SEC championship game. You have Michigan coming off their national championship win last season. Obviously, the coach is gone. Some of the big players are gone. Michigan struggled quite a bit against Fresno State last week before pulling away in the fourth quarter. Texas had a much bigger win than I anticipated. I thought they'd win pretty big, but they absolutely blew out Colorado State. Texas has the talent. Texas has the coaching edge. I think Texas just has the edge in this game overall. I have number 3 Texas winning on the road at number 10 Michigan. And finally, the game that I will be at this weekend, I'll be traveling to Toledo, Ohio to see the UMass Minutemen take on the Toledo Rockets. Next season, this will be a conference game as the UMass starts to make that transition back to the MAC conference where they were many years ago. Toledo is a team that has made it to the MAC championship game over the past couple seasons. They have been competitive. They are always at the top. I think they have no reason to think they won't be there again. UMass is a team that now that they're moving to the MAC, might be able to start putting a little momentum together, but that momentum will not happen this week or this season. With that, I think Toledo will win this game and win it pretty easily. I have Toledo winning at home over UMass. So those are my week 2 picks. Again, I will be leaving tomorrow to head to Toledo, Ohio for this matchup. I have a lot of fun things planned. Obviously, I'll be writing about my trip as I go along and posting about things on my Instagram and my Facebook, so go and check those out. In the meantime, everybody go enjoy the week 2 games, everyone, and we will talk to all of you again next week.